He just really came to me at one point, came to all of us and was like, look, like I don't want to sign under another artist because I feel like I could be just as big or bigger.
I am genuinely shocked how people don't know that The Weeknd and Drake have been beefing since like 2016.
Security guard has been shot in Encino, and we now know the home has ties to the artist The Weeknd.
While everyone is busy talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake, I think it's a good time to look at Drake's feud with The Weeknd. These two started off as friends. Actually, The Weeknd claims Drake stole a lot of his music, and he got upset when The Weeknd wouldn't sign to his record label. Drake's frustrations intensified over time, and once their romantic lives started crossing paths, this feud was officially born. And now it's becoming more heated than ever, so let's get into it. Everybody's been coming for Drake recently, and I thought it'd be a good time to talk a little bit about his complicated friendship turned feud with The Weeknd. To give you guys some background, The Weeknd and Drake are two of the most successful and influential artists in the music industry today, and they're both from Toronto, Canada. We've also heard them collaborate on a bunch of different songs, like the tracks Crew Love, The Zone, and Live For. However, their relationship has not always been smooth, and there have been rumors of a feud between them for years. Now, I really liked their songs together. I like their vibes together. I enjoy The Weeknd. He's one of my favorite artists, and they performed together. They had their projects. They had a friendship, but then it got bitter very quickly.
He played me What You Need. After that, we met up at the studio, and I heard House of Balloons, which is in my top 5 albums of all time. And since then, my brother has gone on to become the biggest, and I want you to make some motherfuckers for The Weeknd because he is true.
So at that point in time, it seemed like Drake was very supportive of The Weeknd. According to sources, the main cause of their rift was related to their business decisions, which could get really messy really quickly. The Weeknd, whose real name is Abel, started his career by releasing music for free on the internet, then gaining a loyal fan base, which I was one of those people back in the day, following him on MySpace. He got the attention of Drake, who helped him gain more exposure by featuring him on his album. Drake actually offered him a record label deal with OVO Sound, but then The Weeknd declined and chose to sign with Republic Records.
He just really came to me at one point, came to all of us and was like, look, like I don't want to sign under another artist because I feel like I could be just as big or bigger, and I want to start my own thing. And it was never like, I'm to this day, I'm always excited, always super happy for all those guys. And I never like had any resentment towards like, oh, you didn't stay on OVO. That was never really like, I'm not gonna say there weren't people that didn't feel a way about it, but that was never my thing. I never expected Abel to stay under OVO as soon as I heard him once express that he wanted to do his own thing. So it's like, my biggest regret would maybe be that we probably wasted 7 years not communicating with each other when we had something beautiful going on.
So the cause of their rift wasn't, The Weeknd moving on and signing up with another record label. He signed in 2012, and he had a joint venture of his own called the XO Imprint. 2 months later, he released a compilation album called Trilogy, and Drake was clearly not happy when this news got out. Actually, in fact, he tweeted, "You won't get away with just a thank you. You owe me a favor." And it didn't take long for fans to figure out who this was directed to. The Weeknd explained his decision in an interview with Complex in 2013. He said, "The thing about Drake is that I told him what my decisions were going to be, and then he was down with it from the beginning." However, some fans speculated that Drake was not happy with The Weeknd's choice and felt betrayed by him. They also noted that Drake seemed to diss The Weeknd on his song 5 a.m. in Toronto, where he rapped, "I show love, never get the same out of," from people. "Guess it's funny how money can make change out of someone. For real, some nobody start feeling himself. A couple somebody start killing themselves. A couple albums drop, those still on the shelf. I bet them shits wouldn't have popped if I wasn't willing to help." Now, I apologize for my terrible rap reading. I am just not a rapper. It's not in my forte, not in this lifetime. But my translation, my rough translation, is that essentially Drake is saying now that he got a record deal, now that he's putting some albums out, he's not recognizing where he came from because I'm the one that gave him exposure that led to his record deal. Now, in the summer of 2013, The Weeknd had a lot to say about Drake in his interview. The Weeknd actually revealed that Drake had taken some of The Weeknd's songs songs that he would have released on his own to include in his album Take Care. Crew Love, Shot for Me, and The Ride were all supposed to be The Weeknd songs, but then Drake liked them and took them. The Weeknd went on to explain, quote, "I was hungry. I was like, dude, take anything. I gave up almost half my album. It's hard. I'll always be thankful. If it wasn't for the light that he shined on me, who knows where I'd be, and everything happens for a reason." So maybe he's a little bit bitter now for giving up his music so easily, but he's also recognizing that Drake did give him that little bit of clout.
And The Weeknd basically was convinced to give Drake a lot of his songs for his next album. So he was going to use some of that music for one of the mixtapes, and Drake convinced him to give him that music. Obviously, because he was Drake and he was rapping with Wayne at the time, he had enough like leverage to, you know, prey on The Weeknd. So The Weeknd gave him the songs for Take Care. A lot of people don't know that The Weeknd wrote 6 songs and gave 6 of his songs to Drake for Take Care, and he used like I think 5 of them. He also helped produce Take Care.
Now, the feud between Drake and The Weeknd go beyond just music. It bleeds into their personal and dating lives. Actually, in 2017, during The Weeknd's breakup with the model Bella Hadid, Drake was reportedly seen flirting with her at a party in New York. Page Six claimed they ended up hooking up, which would have undoubtedly upset The Weeknd. He actually seemed to address this situation in his song Lost in the Fire, where he sang, "And I just want a baby with the right one, cause I could never be the one to hide one." Some fans interpreted this as a subtle jab at Drake, who had a secret son with his former adult film star girlfriend, Sophie. So I think we can all detect a little bit of tension here, which brings us to present day.
I am genuinely shocked how people don't know that The Weeknd and Drake have been beefing since like 2016, and that The Weeknd takes shots at Drake all the time in his music. Like, where have y'all been? Do y'all live in Bikini Bottom?
Now, rapper Future and producer Metro Boomin dropped their second album, and there was a song on there titled All to Myself featuring The Weeknd, which it seems like The Weeknd is bringing up his issues with Drake. Instead of making his potential snubs at Drake sound venomous, The Weeknd does what he does best, and he sings the disses like an angel. In this song, it was quoted saying, "They could never diss my brothers, baby, when they got leaks in the operation. I thank God I never signed my life away, and we never do the big talk. They shooters making TikToks." Now, it appears The Weeknd is throwing shots at Drake, referencing their past relationship in the early 2010s. Drake gave The Weeknd a co-sign and wanted him to be part of OVO Sound. And as we know, The Weeknd ended up signing with Republic because reportedly he did not want to be treated like a side artist, the same way that Drake has treated a lot of the artists who are below him, like Party Next Door and Mahad Jordan. Drake has an affiliate named Baka Not Nice, and he makes a bunch of TikToks, and it seems like The Weeknd is making fun of this guy making these TikToks, saying that they are just a bunch of phonies. The Weeknd's point is that Drake's shooter, Baka Not Nice, who we should be afraid of because he's in a gang, is actually making lame TikToks. So we're not afraid of him because he's over here on the TikTok, yet he's supposed to be big and scary and one of like Drake's like homies. Baka Not Nice was Drake's longtime friend and former bodyguard. He's always had Drake's back. When the Houston rapper Sauce Walka took aim at Drake, Baka was quick to step in, firing off some retaliatory shots in a since deleted Instagram post. Baka has had some problematic past. For example, he was arrested on several charges, including human trafficking. He was accused of allegedly forcing a 22-year-old woman into prostitution, harming her, and uttering death threats. If you guys watch my video about Drake and Kendrick, you may remember that Kendrick put Drake's house on a map and put a bunch of little symbols, and it seems like the symbols that he was putting on that map are actually representative of the people who are in Drake's life, like Baka Not Nice. Drake responded to The Weeknd on his track Family Matters. The diss track was meant for Kendrick during the Drake and Kendrick back and forth, but he managed to sneak in a diss to The Weeknd as well. Drake said, "Knew it was smoke when Abel hit us with the serenade." He said, almost started reaching for my waist. Ooh, Abel, run your effing bread. Need to buy some more chains for more guys. Actually, when he, oh my gosh, not me thinking, okay, reaching for his waist. I thought it was gonna be like an intimate thing. He's probably talking about reaching for his waist to get a gun. Oh my gosh, I'm so ignorant. Yeah, so I don't think it's, I don't think it's a a homo thing. I think it's a gang thing. He raps, and when you boys got rich, you had to run from it. Cash blowing Abel's bread, out here tricking. The stuff we do for bitches, he's doing for guys. So yeah, maybe he is trying to say that The Weeknd is gay, saying that The Weeknd is like buying chains for his brothers and stuff like that. I don't know. It's like he tried to do a little sneak diss to The Weeknd. The first line is clearly directed to The Weeknd, who has resided in New York and Los Angeles since becoming successful. Drake then goes after Cash XO, who is The Weeknd's manager, stating that he is giving out high amounts of The Weeknd's money to men in the form of tricking, which describes when rich people fly women out and buy them extravagant gifts for intimacy. So maybe not The Weeknd being gay, but The Weeknd's manager's gay, and I guess The Weeknd's manager is using a bunch of The Weeknd's money to get boys? That's the story that Drake is telling. But he says in Family Matters, Weeknd music getting played in all the spots where boys got a little more pride. That's why all your friends dip into Atlanta paying just to find a tour guide. I'm a little personally offended. Not really. That same source has further reported that since Atlanta, the place where The Weeknd performs, is frequently referred to as a gay capital, that Drake is implying that The Weeknd is well liked within the gay community, which Drake is like the most streamed artist ever. I think he's liked by every single community. Plus, I'm pretty sure West Hollywood is the gay capital, not Atlanta. Last week, a security guard was shot outside The Weeknd's home in California. The shooting raised more eyebrows in the hindsight as fans wondered if it's connected to the public feud between Kendrick and Drake. The shooting took place at 2:25 in the morning. According to a report, the unnamed security guard was on watch in a guard shack outside the building where he heard several gunshots. Then he realized he had been hit. He saw 3 suspects flee the scene, all wearing hoods and masks.
Security guard has been shot in Encino, and we now know the home has ties to the artist The Weeknd.
About 2:45 this morning, there was a shooting. The security guard was shot. Transported. Condition is unknown, so it's unclear right now if the security guard was shot during some sort of attempted robbery or burglary into the home, or if that security guard had been targeted here.
Now, for whatever reason, Drake really does not like The Weeknd's manager, Cash XO. Actually, on a song Push Ups, he went after him multiple times. I can't even rap this. He says, y'all blank manager was Chubb's little blunt runner, claimed the 6 and you boys ain't even come from it. When you boys got rich, you had to run from it. Cash, who has managed The Weeknd since 2011 and co-founded XO Records with the singer, has yet to respond to Drake's disses. Now, I want to remind you guys that the shooting at Cash's home happened on April 29th. We learned about it on May 8th. Well, a week after the shooting, there was a shooting at Drake's mansion in Toronto. Articles read, much like the incident at Drake's mansion, a security guard was shot at Cash XO's home in Los Angeles. A couple days after the shooting, police were called about a trespasser at his home around 3:30 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, which is a little bit scary because this trespasser was involved in an altercation with a security guard who was then later taken to a hospital. Also, when they're out there around 3:30 p.m., it makes me even more scared because I feel like they're checking out the place during the daylight to see how they're going to get in at night.
A man was injured yesterday in a confrontation with security at Drake's Bridle Path mansion. Police say they were called to the home on Park Lane Circle around 3 p.m. for reports of a trespasser. Before police arrived, there was a confrontation between the man and security at the home. A shooting in front of the home earlier this week that injured a security guard remains under investigation.
Then Toronto police officers were called to Drake's home around 2 p.m. on a Wednesday after an individual attempted to gain access to the property.
Another arrest has been made at Drake's Bridle Path mansion in Toronto. Footage sent to CTV News shows 3 security guards standing over a man on the property on Park Lane Circle. Police say they were called around 1:30 this afternoon for reports of someone trespassing. It's the third time someone has been arrested on the property since the shooting Tuesday morning left a security guard critically injured at Drake's mansion.
So if this feud has anything to do with these trespassers and these shooters, it seems like they're all sending them after each other. I mean, celebrities' homes, they get targeted all the time, but this with the public, social media spats, it's all really, suspicious. Also, I do acknowledge that when these, feuds happen online, fans become enraged. Some fans are not mentally well, and they will go and take it into their own hands. So could be the fans' work, but it's probably the rappers sending people, their goons, after each other. So to sum it up, the Weeknd's manager's mansion gets shot at last week. Then Drake's mansion gets shot at this week. Everyone's blaming Kendrick, but you might need to look at what's going on between The Weeknd and Drake to figure this out. This person asked on Twitter, is the shooting at Drake's home retaliation? The Weeknd's manager home was shot up here in LA last week after Drake dissed him. These two shootings sound like Canadian beef. Another person wrote, all while rap beef is going on, we get two shootings involving The Weeknd's manager and near Drake's crib. Toronto beef is brewing simultaneously. There's a lot going on here, and this feud is fascinating to me. I hope nobody gets hurt. Seriously. Can't we just use our words? I like when people are so witty and so smart and their raps are so good that they just end someone with their intelligence. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.